Well, predictably, I have been upstaged by my daughters. They are, in fact, here tonight, and they're sitting over there with my husband, Boaz, who is missing an event downtown where he is the honoree, so that he can be here with us. Thank you, Boaz. And thank you to Betsy, my friend. Betsy, you are this amazing combination of wise and impish. Serious about what you do, but also serious about making it fun, and you really are a New York treasure. Congratulations to my fellow honorees. Loretta Lynch hired me to be a prosecutor, so it's a particular honor for me to be on a program with her. And congratulations to you, to Citizens Union, on this celebration of 125 years of outstanding work. Transparency, accountability, accessibility, honesty, and ethics. These 5 principles are how you, Citizens Union, have defined good government. And as you know, I've spent most of my career as a prosecutor, first in the federal system and then in the state system. And so I thought tonight I would give you my perspective on how prosecutors, as opposed to other public servants, should practice good government. And specifically, I want to ask, given the unique constraints of criminal investigations and trials, how can prosecutors abide by the values of transparency, accountability, and accessibility? Prosecutors are not exactly associated with transparency, for starters. Indeed, opacity and a dispassionate demeanor are prized qualities. One of my mentors from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Loretta, I think you'll know who I'm describing, taught me to keep my face totally emotionless when a jury gives a verdict. And in fact, there's always been this zone of secrecy, even mystery around our work, supported by the idea that outside review of our discretion would undermine it and compromise our ability to make decisions that are tailored to the facts of every case. Despite all of this, our profession has made important progress on transparency in the last decade. When I was general counsel in the Brooklyn DA's office, transparency was central to our plan for criminal justice reform. And we made lots of data available about the office's work, trying to open up a conversation with the public about where we could shift priorities and resources and how we could do better. I'm particularly proud of a report we published in 2020 with the Innocence Project about the first 25 wrongful convictions that the office identified and asked courts to overturn. And we were honest there and specific about our mistakes as an institution, how we investigated poorly, how we mismanaged discovery, how we failed to check our biases. And we were also honest about the ways in which courts and defense counsel and the police fell short too, and how together we were responsible for a total 426 years of wrongful imprisonment for those 25 people. But increasing transparency is actually relatively easy if you're committed to doing it. Some of the other principles of good government, particularly accessibility and its connection to accountability, are a harder fit for prosecutors. Prosecutors are taught from the start to say nothing publicly, to speak only through our court filings and through the judgments of our fellow citizens, meaning grand jury indictments and trial verdicts. And silence is particularly important during the investigation phase. It's illegal to reveal information obtained through the grand jury process. It's unethical to expose somebody as a target or suspect and to embarrass people publicly before they're accused of anything. And disclosing facts about an investigation could compromise evidence or lead to its destruction. But I question whether these rules that I've just described together should form a wall of absolute silence in every instance. For one thing, today there are many more eyes on our criminal justice system than ever before, both figuratively and literally. the proliferation of smartphone videos and body cam footage have vividly displayed parts of our criminal justice system for everyone to see, and this is a good thing. Think of how a teenager's video of George Floyd's murder sparked an overdue social movement. Now, this past year, as my daughter told you, I've been a legal analyst on television, explaining criminal investigations and prosecutions, and I've seen how much interest there is in the criminal justice system and also how much skepticism there is about whether it really delivers equal justice and accountability. And I also see how quickly disinformation can fill the spaces in which prosecutors are silent. Guardrails, like the rule prohibiting disclosure of grand jury material, must remain firm, but I think we must also find opportunities to explain what we're doing and to educate the public on how the rule of law works. And this idea of the prosecutor as an explainer or an educator goes beyond transparency. It means embracing active engagement with the people that we serve. When Donald Trump said the execution of a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago was a raid, it was unusual, but I think exactly right, for the Attorney General to go on television and to explain how a search warrant works, or to move to unseal key documents so people could look at them. And we need more of this. You know, not to put myself out of my current job, but we need more explanation from public officials and prosecutors instead of opinions and guesswork from television talking heads. And was that for the putting me out of a job part? And when there is intense public interest in the status of a long investigation, prosecutors should welcome and, in fact, seek out opportunities to answer the public's questions. Hiding behind a wall and saying, "Trust us, we got this," is not only condescending, it's counterproductive to the public that prosecutors serve. To say, just leave it to us professionals and to walk away is traditionally how it's been done, but it's out of step with a new reality, including defendants and others who will surmise and fill in the blanks if you won't. Now, the change that I am proposing is one of attitude. We can simply begin by asking ourselves, why am I being silent and mysterious? Is this necessary? And I think the prosecutors in this room would agree with me that just making this shift is new and it's uncomfortable. But that is where you, Citizens Union, come in. You've spent 125 years advocating for good government, and I know that you will continue to push public servants to practice good government in a way that meets the moment and that meets the public interest, even prosecutors. Thank you for this magnificent honor.